welcome to another episode of the Caregiver and Spoonie podcast. You already know my name. I'm your host, Jordan Banderas. Now, just a quick reminder, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any episodes of the podcast. And again, thank you for all the emails and the support that I've been receiving. Let's keep making this community grow for everybody, so we know that we're not alone and we can support each other on our journeys. Sorry, my dogs are being loud. And somebody asked me, like, how come you don't edit anything? It's like, this is not perfect. That's why I have always said, like, this is not about perfection. It's just about doing it. I don't care if there's any background noise. As long as you can hear me, I think that will be fine. My dogs, they're dogs. I'm not going to put them in a kennel so I can finish the episode, you know? That's just me. That's pretty much how I am now. And let's get into today's episode. So on today's episode, I want to talk about who are you? This is a question that I'm going to ask you, and you should be asking this to yourself. Who am I? Right now, because of everything that's going on, if you're a caregiver or Spoonie, whatever you're going through, sometimes we forget who we are. We forget that, like in my case, I will tell you my example. When I was growing up, I forgot who I was. I let people put the label on me, like uneducated, dumb, all of these things. I forgot who I was, which is a learner. So I forgot who I was, and I let everybody dictate my life. Like, oh, you're this, you're that, you're this, you're that. And that's what happens in the Spoonies, with the Spoonies and the caregivers, because we believe that we literally forget our identity. We start to believe that we are the illness. Like, whatever we're going through, that's who we are. Like, we're fibromyalgia, we are cancer, we are arthritis, we are all of these illnesses that you might be going through. Like, we forget, or we start to believe that we are the illness. We forget our own name sometimes. We forget that we are learners from childhood. And that's why I wanted to talk about things like this, because this happened to me. I forgot who I was. And that's why you hear, like, a lot of people that go through, like, a self-discovery journey where they find themselves, they find their passion, and you have seen it. Like, I have talked about Inky Johnson, where he was lost. He knew who he was, so he just kept going. There's another good story that I have posted about on the Facebook page for Nick Santonarazo, and I'm sorry if I messed up the last name. But the dude was born without legs and with half on his arms were not fully developed, so he still thrived because he knew who he was. His parents didn't put a label on him. Like, no, he didn't let anybody put a label on him. One of the best things that I heard on his story, and I think this is on the video that I posted on Facebook, is about how he joined the wrestling team, even though he didn't have legs and he didn't literally have like an arm to grab onto the other person. Like, he will literally join the wrestling team because he knew who he was. He wasn't a quitter, and he hasn't quit. And that's pretty much what I want to ask you. Who are you? Ask yourself this question. Who am I? Because, like I was saying, like, we forget who we are. And like I have talked about in another episode, is like, you have to find your gift. Once you go into this discovery of yourself, once you rediscover yourself and you realize, okay, right now I have to know, who am I? I can't work. I can't do this. So who am I? I'm not the illness. I'm not whatever's happening to me. I'm not this circumstance. I am, in my case, I am Jordan. And like I have mentioned before, and since I started my discovery journey or my self-development journey, I am a learner. And I've been learning so many new things about life, psychology, history, and all of these things. So I feel pretty good about that, because that fulfills me. So when you find who you are, you're also going to be able to find your passion. You might be able to find your gift as well, because you're like, I am, let's say, Katie, who is my wife. She's good at decorating. I don't know if you can see all the decor behind me, but she's pretty good at it. She's pretty good at decorating. So at the end of her journey, if she's all like, I'm Katie, I'm an interior designer, it's like, that's her. That will be her gift. That will be whatever she wants to be. Or if she's all like, I'm Katie and I'm a cook, that's her. Or if you said to yourself, I'm, let's say, John, and I'm a writer, and I'm gonna be writing. And remember this, like, whenever you find yourself, whatever you start is not going to be good. You have to understand this, that you're gonna start pretty much from the beginning. When you find yourself again, you're gonna start from the beginning. You're gonna have to understand that whatever you decide to do is not gonna be great. And that's how you find yourself, because you start improving it. That's how you perfect your gift, because you improve it. You do it every day. Like, for example, writing. You take feedback. You do all of these things right. And we're going to be talking about this on the podcast throughout the episodes, because I think it's very important, especially for the community, like the Spoonies, the caregivers, or for whoever this can help. It's very important to understand that once you find yourself, it's literally like, once you know who you are, it's literally like starting from the beginning, because it's like you remove all these labels, like dumb, stupid, whatever label society or somebody put on you, whatever label you feel like you have on top of you, you're going to be able to remove it, and then you're going to say, like, I am this. And one quote that I keep hearing a lot about in another podcast that I listen to it's this: you can't read the label unless you get out of the jar. You can't read the label while inside the jar. So in order for you to find yourself, in order for you to find your gift, you have to literally get out of the jar that you are, and then go outside and literally see the label and find your label. Find who you are. That's what it means to me. For you, it could mean something else, but that's what it means to me, and I just wanted to share that, because since I've been able to find who I am, I know this one thing: I am uneducated in so many levels. The way that I talk, the way that I read, the way that I write, I'm uneducated. And because I know that I'm a learner, I'm going to be able to learn again. So it's literally like starting all over again. It's like, let's say, for example, I know that this happens to a lot of Spoonies and caregivers. When you become a Spoonie, let's say you were a lawyer before, or you had your own business, or in our example, my wife had her own business. We lost it, we did everything, and then she felt depressed because she felt like she didn't know who she was. She was addicted to work. And this happens a lot. Like, we get addicted to work because we have a label. Like, oh, you're a hard worker, so you have to prove to yourself. Or somebody says something to you while growing up, and then you have to prove to everybody that you're a hard worker. That's what happened to me. But in my case, or in my wife's case, once we lost the business, she had to understand that being a hard worker is not who she is. So right now she's finding herself. I'm able to find myself. You might be able to find yourself, whoever you are, whatever you decide to be, whatever you choose. Make sure that it fulfills you. Because one of the things that I have learned about finding yourself is that if you don't find the right thing, or if you don't find your gift, or you don't follow what keeps coming up in your mind, you're not gonna feel fulfilled. You're gonna be able to, let's say you're a drawer. You like to draw, like, let's say, anime or whatever, and you like to, and instead of following that passion, that's your passion. It's kind of like this. It's kind of like me, like talking. and giving advice and learning it has become a passion of mine. But before, when I was growing up, I was told I was always dumb, and I have talked about this story that back in the day, a few years ago, I could have bought bitcoins, but because I felt like I was dumb, or that I wasn't gonna be able to understand anything about it, I was like, it's not for me. So I didn't buy bitcoins. Now, yes, I do regret, but I learned the lesson that if I don't understand something, I need to research it. So what I was trying to say is, like, when you become, if you're trying to follow your passion and you get distracted with something else, let's say like you like to draw, but you want to try dancing and you don't know how to dance, don't feel bad about it. Just go back to your passion. Just go back to your passion. That's what I should have done with the bitcoins, because learning is my passion. I researched it online, but I was like, I don't understand any of this. It must not be for me. So I didn't do anything about it, and obviously I lost a big opportunity. And when you don't follow your passion, or you don't try to make it better, to say like, for example, I am Katie, the decorator. If you don't push yourself to make it better, then it's not going to fulfill you, and you're just gonna give up. So if you push yourself, once you find yourself, once you say, I am this, once you find yourself, you have to push yourself. But don't push yourself too hard. Like, for example, like, the way that I did is that I did this, like, when I started doing the podcast, obviously you can tell that I'm not good at it yet, but I'm getting better on every episode. So that's what I try to do. And I listen to myself all the time. I listen to all these people, and I'm like, okay, I don't understand that word. I research it. I don't understand that term. I research it. Okay, I'm going to read about this book. Let's see what it's all about. Like, do your research, because if you're following your passion, if you're following exactly who you are, once you start researching about it, and once you understand that you can learn about it, you're gonna feel fulfilled. You're gonna feel like this sense of this power. I'm not gonna lie. It's like a powerful sensation of, I can do this. Like, I can actually learn this. Like, this is something that I didn't know. I should have done this a long time ago. So that's how I feel, at least. But that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about today, about who you are. So if you feel lost, if you feel like you don't know who you are, if you feel like you're the illness, if you feel like you're just your circumstances, that's not true. Just so you know, that's not true. You are something. You are somebody. But you have to ask yourself that question: who am I? And then and we're going to be talking about this in another episode, but sometimes you have to look at your past to tell you who you are. If you're a survivor, if you're a learner, if you're all of this. And I'm going to talk about it in another episode, because it's a completely different episode. But that's what I wanted to talk about in today's episode. I hope you're liking it. And if you have any comments, please comment. Any feedback about the episodes, send me your feedback at thecaregiverandspoonie@gmail.com. You can also send me a message on Facebook. You can send me your story anonymously if you want to share it. Obviously, like I said, anonymously without your name. And don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. And thank you for listening to you. Thank you for giving me your time. That's what I really appreciate. You guys are giving me your time. And like I have mentioned always, this has helped me so much in rediscovering myself. So you might want to do something like this. You might want to do something on YouTube. Like, and one thing before I forget, sorry, I almost forgot about this. When you finally figure out who you are and what you want to be, or who you want to be, then you can use the internet to learn more about it, or to showcase your writing, your cooking, whatever you decide to do. You can use the internet in your favor, but you just gotta remember, there's people that are gonna hate, and you just don't have to care. And I'm gonna talk about how I deal with people like that, like the troll that trolled me that one time. But that's it for today. And like I said, I hope you guys are having a good time, even though we're in quarantine at the time of this video is being recorded. But I'll leave you with this: always take care of yourself.